and then I'm going to share my screen with you all. And today we're going to look at situations in declarer play involving playing the trumps in such a way that you don't lose control of the trumps. And this topic, I've kind of looked at it before, but I decided to look at it again because there was a hand played last week where this came up. And I wanted to look at what happens if you lose control of trumps in some situation. So if I could ask you all to keep your background noise to a minimum, or if it gets too noisy, then I will mute you all. Okay? So let's have a look at this one to start with. And south here is opener opens one heart, partner bids a spade, south bids 2 diamonds, and north now jumps to 3 hearts. That should show something like 10 to 12 points, and suppose you go on to 4 hearts on that one. So let's suppose West leads the king of spades. Let's stop for a minute and see if we can make a plan here. And in a suit contract, we're going to try and work out our likely losers. So how many losers do you think you've got in spades?
1.
Just the 1, I think. Any heart losers?
1. Possibly.
Probably 1, right? I mean, barring a miracle, I think it's almost impossible that you're going to lose 1 heart trick. Hopefully it's just 1 heart. And how many diamond tricks are you going to lose?
1.
3. So you've got those 3 losers. You've got no club losers. And although this hand is relatively straightforward, there are various ways you can go wrong here. So let's have a look at how it should be played. Let's suppose they start with the king of spades, East encourages, and they play another spade, and you ruff that. Okay. Let's suppose we now start drawing trumps. Okay. So we'll play the ace and the king, and if everyone follows, we now know that there's just 1 trump out. It's the queen, in fact, and it's a high trump. It's always going to make a trick. And in that situation, it's a good idea just to leave it. Just let them ruff with that or play it whenever they like. There's no point you playing it, drawing the last trump, if it's a high trump. If it was a low trump, of course, we would draw it. But because it's a high trump, we just leave it out and we just go about our other business. We play our diamonds. Okay, they're going to get in with their ace, and they can actually draw our last trump. Okay, so if West happens to have the queen, they can actually draw that, but we're still okay, because whatever they play now, we can ruff with our last trump, the 8 of hearts, and now we can take the rest of our take the diamonds, and then the clubs at the end. Okay, and we'll make the 10 tricks we were hoping to make there, just losing those 3 tricks. Now, there are various ways you can go wrong on this hand, and I just wanted to show you a couple of them. Any questions on that previous one? This is the same hand, but we're going to play it in a slightly different way. So this is exactly the same hand, and let's suppose they start off just as they did before with a spade trick, second spade, which we ruff. Now, remember what we did before? We cashed the ace and king of hearts, and then we left that last heart out. But one mistake that people make on a hand like this is to try to draw that last trump. And there really is no point, because it's always going to make 1 trick, and instead, in fact, you're giving up 2 of your trump to get rid of it. But if you do that, you can now be in trouble, because if West wins that, they can now play another spade. Okay, obviously if you played the jack, they would have taken the ace there. And you can ruff that, but that's your last trump, and you still haven't set up the diamonds. So now, when you play the diamonds, the opponents will get in, and they can actually cash a spade. Okay, and you've got no more trumps, so they'll make 4 tricks there, and they'll defeat you by 1 trick. Okay, you're going to make the rest, but you'll be held to down 1 on that one. Okay. Any comments on that? Another way that you can go wrong, and this is really the topic of today's lesson, is to ruff unnecessarily. So on this hand, what I often see people do is, let's get to the point where they where declarer gains the lead again. They take the king. You ruff a heart. What I see some people do is, having that void in spades now, they decide to try to ruff another spade. And although you can ruff spades, by ruffing in the hand that had the long trumps, your hand here, you're very rarely gaining anything. And in fact, it can lead to you losing control of trumps. So what some people will do on this hand is they might cross over to the king and lead another spade. Okay, now you can lead another spade and you can ruff it, but what you're doing is you're running out of trumps in your hand. Okay, so if you do that, it hasn't actually gained you anything at all. And now let's see what happens when you start drawing trumps. If you start playing the ace king of hearts and then you switch to a diamond, let's see what happens if West gets in. Well, if West gets in with the ace of diamonds, can you see that they are now in control of trumps, and they can draw your trumps with the queen of hearts? Now you have no trump left, and now that you'll be able to cash, they'll be able to cash a spade, and again you will lose an extra trick there. Okay, do you see that? So you'll make the rest after this. Fortunately, they've got no more spades, but whatever. So you'll make the rest, but you'll be defeated by one trick there. Okay, and that was all about not losing control of trumps. You lost control of trump there because you tried to ruff the spades in the long hand, and that was an absolutely pointless play on this hand. Now, I was reminded of this topic because I was asked a question about one of the hands from last week, and it was this board 11 from last Thursday. And let's just have a look at it in a minute. Then we're going to have a look at different ways it can be played. So you can see it's. I've just got to arrange my screen a bit so I can see it more clearly. You can see it was generally played in a spade contract by North. Some played it in 2 spades. Some made it. Some went down. Some got a bit too high, 4 spades. What the top score was, one person played in 3 no trump, going +1. Now, this little grid here shows the makeable contracts, and it actually says that 3 no trump should not be able to make, but spades, you should be able to make 9 tricks. In other words, you should be able to make 2 spades +1. Whereas, not everyone did that. And I'm going to look at this hand, how it was bid and played on 3 different occasions. All right? So let's have a look at how it was played this time. Just wait for this to come up. Okay, and in general, I've not included the players' names, although I included Francis. Played this one as North. I've left it on because she played it very well. And I don't know if you're on the call, Francis, but this was bid and played, I think, pretty much the best way. So let's have a look at how it went. North started off with 1 spade, East double. Now I don't really like that double because you've only got 2 hearts. I know they're the ace and king, but I'm not very keen on that. But anyway, that's what did happen. This is replaying as it was. And South bid 2 hearts, which I think is okay. I mean, it's not a great heart suit, but you do have 10 points, and you have 5 hearts, although they're not very good. So I think 2 hearts is reasonable. North, when it comes back round, doesn't really have another bid other than 2 spades. And I think that should be passed out. South, I know you've got 10 points and you might be thinking of inviting game, but you don't have a great fit with your partner. I mean, you've only got 2 spades there. So I think 2 spades is a good final compact, which is actually where a lot of people ended up. There's a bit of background noise. If you could, turn that off, please, whoever's calling that. Okay, I'm going to mute everyone then. Sorry. Let's see if I can.
Boiling water in it, it'll kill any bugs anyway.
Okay. Just a second. Sorry, I'm going to mute you all. So after I've done this, do unmute yourself if you wish to speak. Sorry, takes a little bit to find it. Oh, what happened there? Hang on a second. Okay. All right. So so that's where I think it should end up in 2 spades. Anyone have any comments or questions on that so far? So East is on lead, and I'm just going to replay it as it was played on this occasion. East led the Ace of Hearts. Now, you may not be aware of this, that if you decide to lead from an Ace-King doubleton against a suit contract here, you should not lead the ace. The correct lead with a doubleton Ace-King is the king. And the reason for that is that by leading the king and following up with the ace, you are telling your partner that you don't have the normal holding of an Ace-King with other cards. It's actually how you show that you started with a doubleton. So if you have the Ace-King doubleton, you lead the king, follow it up with the ace, and then if your partner gets on lead, maybe they'll be able to give you a ruff. So that's how it's meant to go. All right? Anyway, they led the ace, and let's just have a look at this from declarer's point of view, and let's see if we can figure out, we'll count, first of all, where you're in danger of losing tricks, and then also try and count how many tricks you have to make altogether. So let's look at the spade suit to start with. How many spades do you think declarer might lose here? Do unmute yourselves if you have something to share.
1.
One.
Vote for 1 there. Vote for 1. Yeah, I mean, it depends how the spades are divided, actually. But we have only 7 trump between us. So the opponents have got 6. Now, if they were divided 3-3, we could actually make all the spades and not lose any. But more than likely, they won't be divided 3-3. And if they were divided 4-2, for example, then we're probably going to lose 1 trick there. So probably 1 trick we're going to lose there. How many hearts are we going to lose?
1.
1 heart, yeah. Okay, so one spade, 1 heart, let's say. Now, diamond losers, we have quite a few in our own hand. We have, the ace is 1 trick, and then these others are losers. Now, potentially that could be up to 3 diamond losers. We'll come back to that in a minute. And in clubs, we've got the ace, king, queen, and we've got the ace, queen, jack, sorry, and we've also got the king there. So the king will provide an extra trick on which we could discard a loser. Okay, so that's sort of one way you can count it. Another way is to try and count how many tricks you think you can make. And let's do the same thing. If we assume we lose 1 spade, we hope we'll make a total of 4 spades. Do you all agree with that?
Yes.
We hope we'll make 1 diamond, and we hope we'll make 4 clubs. Okay, if we can make 4 clubs, that brings the total to 9 tricks, and that's a pretty good goal, I think, on this one, to try to make 9 tricks. All right. Now I'll show you what happened on this hand. They started off with the ace of hearts. They played another heart, which declarer ruffed, and now declarer starts drawing trumps. And He starts very well with the king, winning in the short hand. Plays another spade over to the queen. And when she cashes the ace, East discards and West plays the 9. So there's one trump out, it's the jack, and West has it. And what you mustn't do is draw it. Just leave them to ruff with it or try and take a trick with it whenever they like. Instead, turn your attention to your other suits. We're going to play clubs, of course, to start with. The ace, the queen, and the jack. Okay. Here, West ruffs. We always knew they were going to ruff at some stage. But whatever they play back, actually, let's bring up the 4 hands at this point. Whatever they play back, they can cash some diamonds, but if they play a heart instead, for example, we can ruff with our last trump, okay? And now we can still get to dummy. We've got the ace of diamonds in dummy, so we can get over there and cash the king of clubs, okay? And now that makes 9 tricks. Now, actually, when this was played, the defense made an error here because South now played the 9 of diamonds from dummy, and East made the mistake of playing the king. Okay, now that is obviously a mistake because now you win that trick and you have to lead a diamond, which North wins, which is how they made how Francis made 10 tricks on this one. I mean, how does West know whether to play the king of diamonds or not? Well, they shouldn't really play it unless they're certain that they're going to cash another winner with the 8 of diamonds. So it was a mistake. If you just let your partner win the queen of diamonds, then the jack of hearts would be a trick. But as it was, Declarer managed to make 10 tricks on that one with the help of the defensive error there. Okay. So that was one way it was played, and I think it was perhaps the best way to play it. We'll look at a couple of other ways. This is the same hand, and we're going to see how it went this time. Just wait for this to reload. And let's just see, it's a similar contract. This time East makes a more reasonable bid, I think, of 2 diamonds, 2 hearts, 2 spades, and again, 2 spades as a final contract. And again, the opponent started off with the hearts. They took the ace and king of hearts, which Declarer ruffed. Okay, and now what Declarer did was, I think they had it in their mind to ruff some hearts. And although you've ruffed 1 heart to start with, although you can ruff hearts, you're ruffing in the hand with the long trump suit. And this not only doesn't really gain you any extra tricks, it also weakens your trump holding. You can see at this moment that West has got 4 spades and North has got 4 spades. And if you try to ruff diamonds, you're ruffing in the hand here so that you may actually run out of trumps, and West may end up with more trumps than you. So don't do this, in other words. If you play the ace of diamonds, shows you crossed a diamond to the ace of diamonds, and then played a heart back, and then tried to ruff that. Well, a bad thing happened then, that you've shortened your holding, and another bad thing is about to happen because you're going to be over-ruffed. Okay, so that worked badly. The opponents then cashed a diamond, played another diamond, and Declarer ruffed that high in dummy. You could see that if they hadn't ruffed, then West would have ruffed. So West just discarded. And now Declarer starts drawing trumps. But you can see they're already in a bit of a pickle here because they've got fewer trumps than West. So when they play the ace and the queen, they get the 4-2 break. And now they are very vulnerable in trumps. They wisely decided to stop playing trumps at this point and tried to cash some clubs, but unfortunately West got in, ruffed, was able to draw that last spade, and then actually cashed the last 2 hearts. So Declare, instead of making 9 tricks, only managed 6 tricks there. Okay, so it was a 3 trick difference really caused by attempting to ruff those hearts. Any comments or questions on that?
No.
Right. So you can have a look at that. I also look at another way that this was played, and this time it was played in a 4-spade contract. Let's wait for this to come up. So here the bidding went as before: 1 spade, 2 diamonds, 2 hearts pass, 2 spades pass. South, I don't really think you should bid 2 no trump there. Your partner has shown a minimum hand with 12 to 15 points and at least 5 spades. With you having 10 points, I would say that 2 no trump is sort of suggesting a possibility of game, maybe inviting game. You've already shown your 10 points. I don't think you should bid 2 no trump here. If you do, I think North should probably pass 2 no trump, because you're a minimum for your holding. Your partner has bid no trump, which should indicate that they've got a stopper in the opponent's suit diamonds. You've also got a good holding in diamonds, and I think you should stop. Anyway, as it was, a couple of people did reach 4 spades here, and it's a difficult contract to make. But I wanted to look at this one as well, because the Declarer played this in a slightly different way. And what they tried to do on this hand was try to ruff some of these diamonds. In other words, remember we said we started off with all those diamond losers. Well, rather than lose them on at least one table, they tried actually to ruff some of them. The only problem with that is that you won't be able to ruff very many of them. And if you were to ruff with the king, it's really weakening your trump holding. It might mean that then you're going to lose another trump trick. So ruffing the diamonds is ruffing in the shorthand, which can be a good tactic, but here it really doesn't work out very well. The other problem with ruffing diamonds is that if you think about it, you want to cash your 4 clubs at some point, and that will mean you'll really need an entry to dummy so that you can take the 4th club here. And if you played your diamonds early, you may not have that entry. So let's have a look at how this one went. Again, playing in a spade contract, they started off with the ace and king of hearts. And obviously this Declarer was trying to maybe make an extra trick by ruffing the diamond. So they started off with the ace of diamonds, played a diamond back, and the defense now played a club, which Declarer won. And Declarer played a diamond, but it turns out that when they played the 6 of spades, unfortunately, it got over-ruffed. So they weren't able to make a trick by ruffing that one there. Okay, the opponents switched back to clubs. And now Declarer is going to try to draw trumps here. So they play the king. And although that works, they now have a bit of difficulty in continuing to draw trumps, because they need to get back to their hand. And you can see that if they were to lead a club, that would get ruffed. They actually led a heart, tried to ruff with the 8, but unfortunately got over-ruffed. Okay, and now the defense played a king of diamonds, and actually, if I bring up GIB at this point, it's actually saying that 4 spades at this point could be defeated by 3 tricks. Okay, in other words, if West plays a heart here, it should go down 3 tricks. Actually, West ruffed this one, okay, and although they won that trick, now Declarer was able to win the heart return, draw the last trump, and make a club. So they only went down 2 there, but there was a risk of going down 3. So this was a tricky hand. I mean, it was a random hand, but it really worked out best just to go after your 9 tricks, and definitely ruffing the hearts in your hand didn't work out very well. Ruffing the diamonds in dummy could have worked out, but you know it's difficult to ruff very many, and you're also making your communication between the 2 hands difficult by doing that. So it turns out no one made more than 9 tricks on that one, except that one person played it in 3 no trump. But in spades, it should just make those 9 tricks, and you're best not to try to ruff the diamonds because it really cuts you off from dummy. It's very hard to make 4 clubs if you've already played the diamonds earlier on. Does anyone have any comments or questions on that?
Tony, can I ask you about the bidding, please?
Yes.
When you go 1 spade, 2 diamonds, 2 hearts, and the partner replies 2 spades, I always assume they've got 6 of them. So how do I know they've got a minimum?
Well, the 2 spade bid in my book shows 12 to 15 points and at least 5 spades.
Oh, so it's never guaranteed 6.
Well,
okay, thanks.
Not really. I mean, there are some people who say that when you rebid a suit, it should often show a 6-card suit.
Yeah.
But there are holdings like this where it doesn't, where there's nothing else that North can bid.
Sure.
I mean, even if there hadn't been that 2 diamond overcall there, you couldn't, and it would just go and say 1 spade, 2 hearts. You wouldn't bid 3 diamonds with this hand, because that shows a stronger hand that's bidding above the 2 level of the person. So your only option is 2 spades.
Oh, right.
That does not guarantee a 6-card suit. If you rebid 3 spades, if you jump, then that should show a 6-card suit. But here it shows a minimum and doesn't guarantee more than 5 spades.
Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions on that? So that was the main thing I wanted to talk about. Don't think about ruffing the hearts, especially here where you don't have that many trumps. You're shortening your trump holding, and it's very, very easy to lose control of trump. Okay. Anyway, you can replay that hand if any of you played it. I mean, some of you did here. It was from last Thursday, and you can click on these links here to see how it was played and how it went. Okay. And you can see that actually that one, 2 spades plus 2, was one with best score. Even 2 spades plus 1, which is what it should have been, would have still been an equally good score. So that was a sort of fairly straightforward way of playing it, if you like, not trying to ruff, and especially not in a long hand. Any comments or questions? If you're all happy with that, we'll stop sharing. We've got a few hands where you'll have an opportunity to think about whether you want to have play hands a bit like that one. And if there are no more questions, I'll stop sharing with you. And remember, we're on BBO at 2 o'clock today.
Thank you, Tony.
Any questions, anyone? I hope you all followed that.
Thank you,
Okay.
Tony. Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Thank you
you,
all very
Tony.
much then. And we'll see you online in half an hour or so. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.